Hi, this is Monica from Add a Little Dazzle, and in today's video we are going to teach you how to make this beautiful metal embossed poinsettia. So stay tuned. Now we're going to begin the process of teaching you how to create this metal embossed poinsettia. Now the instructions for creating this entire card can be found at www.addalittledazzle.com, and you will find a link there with a PDF tutorial with all the measurements and instructions for creating this card. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on this poinsettia. There are some products that you're going to need. And here I want to show you this die that is called the Tattered Poinsettia die, and it is by Tim Holtz. This die has all the images of the poinsettia, and in addition there's also available this embossing folder that once you cut out the pieces, it fits in perfectly in there, and you can emboss them to create this beautiful textured look that you see here on the metal. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you how to cut your metal sheet so that you can get the most use out of it. So you can actually create 2 poinsettias out of each metal sheet piece. To begin this project, you're going to need a 9x12 piece of metal sheet, and in addition you're going to need the 5x7 garland green metal sheet to create the leaves. Now the color that I'm using here is scarlet red, and scarlet red coordinates perfectly with Stampin' Up's color Real Red. Now if you want a darker, deeper red, then you're going to need to purchase our rustic red, and rustic red coordinates with cherry cobbler. Now keep in mind that poinsettias come in lots of different colors, so you're just not limited to red. And later on this week I'm going to be showing you poinsettias that we've created with our different colors of metal sheets, so you can get a taste and a glimpse of what all of them look like. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it into a 5x6 piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 5 going down, and because this is 9x12, then I can cut this piece over here in half. Let me show you. So here are my 2 pieces that I cut straight down at 5, and then I took my piece and I cut it in half at 6. So I have 2 5x6 pieces, and these are for the entire 3 layers of the poinsettia. Now I added an extra layer on the bottom for just the bigger piece of the poinsettia, and for that then I took the extra piece that I had over here. Again, I cut at 5, and then I have a 4-inch piece here, so I was able to cut out 3x4 pieces, and I actually was able to get 3 out of them. And this is the one I'm going to use to cut and emboss the larger poinsettia, so it creates an extra layer underneath. So as you can see here, I'm able to create 2 poinsettias, the main base and then an extra layer, and then I will have 1 leftover piece, and that's always good to have in case you make any mistakes. Now when cutting the garland green, I want to make you aware that the garland green comes in a 5x7 piece of metal sheet, and so we need to use this efficiently, and so I wanted to cut it into a 3x4 piece. I don't need to cut out every part of the poinsettia, as I only use 4 leaves, and I'm going to show you how you can position it to get the most out of this. So I just cut it at 3 inches, 2 pieces, and then by 4, and I'm able to get 2 leaves. So now I have my 2 poinsettias and a little bit of extra scrap and this extra piece. And so now let's go ahead and start the process. Okay, so here is my tattered poinsettia die cut, and I'm going to take my piece of metal sheet and I'm going to place it color side down. That is important for you to remember, that it must be colored side down, because you don't want the plates, the markings from the plates, to come out in on your metal sheet. And so once I've done that, I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to place it, my cutting pad underneath, my other cutting plate on top, and I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. As you can see, I've now placed the assembled piece inside my Big Shot, and I am just going to run it through. And my pieces have come out beautifully. As you can see, here are the three main pieces that I'm going to work with. But I want to get an extra poinsettia in there for this piece. And so it's right here. And so I'm just going to take my metal sheet and position it over that area. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to run it through my Big Shot one more time to create this extra piece. As you can see, I now have two of the larger pieces of my poinsettia, the medium-sized one and the smallest one. Now, we're ready to begin the embossing process on these pieces, but before we do that, let's go ahead and create our leaves. Here's my poinsettia die, and here's the largest flower. I'm going to take my garland green piece and I'm going to place it over 4 of the leaves. You're going to notice that this one is missing coverage here. Don't worry about that because you don't need 5 leaves. You only need 4. If you want 5, then you're just going to have to cut out a bigger piece. But for mine, I only use 4. And so I'm going to place it there. I'm going to, again, sandwich it and run it through the Big Shot. Okay, so as you can see here, all my pieces are now cut. I have my 2 large poinsettia pieces. I have my medium size and my smallest, and here I have my leaves. And so now what I need to do is I need to emboss this piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the coordinating impressions folder and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to place it inside. Now here is the larger one and here's the middle size and the smallest one. And you need to play around with it to see that it lines up correctly, because the leaves have different textures to them. So like I'm looking for this little stumpy one right here, and that doesn't fit there. So how about right here? There we go. And so I'm going to place it in there, align it just right so it fits. I'm going to close this, press down. If it's a little bit off, you can see it here. And then just position it accordingly. Run it through my Big Shot with my multi-purpose platform. I do want to mention something. Now, there's so much texture to this that when you run it through the Big Shot, you need to make sure that you open all the tabs all the way. There's nothing here. If you don't do that and you run it on tab 1 or 2, it's going to cut through the metal because of the intricate detail. And you don't want that to happen. So open it all the way. Place your cutting pad right there. Place your impressions folder accordingly. Take your other piece and then go ahead and run it through the Big Shot. As you can see here, I've already gone ahead and embossed all the pieces and it looks gorgeous. Now, I can either take a sanding block and go over it, or I can add some texture with pigment ink. There's silver pigment ink and there's gold pigment ink. And this will be available from Stampin' Up! Starting on August 1st. So what you're going to do is you're going to open your pad and you're going to take a poinsettia and you're just going to lightly go over it. As you can see, it just brings out the detail in your poinsettia to life. Now you can heat set it so that the ink will stay. Mine has been sitting for a few days, and I'll be honest with you, it really hasn't come off. Just very little, and people really won't be handling the poinsettia, and so I don't see that it's a problem. But if it is to you, you can always put some clear embossing powder over it and heat set it just to make sure that it doesn't come off. But my experience has been it doesn't come off. Just go over it very lightly with a heat tool. Remember to put a clothespin to hold it so that you don't burn yourself. And you don't have to get every detail, just lightly go over it. And as you can see, it just adds a gorgeous touch to your poinsettia. And so now we need to assemble it. So now that we're ready to assemble, what you need is your silicone mat from Stampin' Up, because we're going to work with hot glue. Now you need to figure out how you want to position these two larger poinsettias. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hot glue gun and just put a little drop right there in the center. And if it goes outside of the metal, don't worry, because it'll still peel off. That's why you have that silicone mat there. So let me see. I think I'll do that right there. There we go. And then now I'm going to take the next piece, figure out where I want it, and I'm overlapping mine, but you can do it however you want. Press down and take my smaller piece, and there is your poinsettia. Now let me get in a little bit closer for you, because now what you need to do, once it has dried, lift up each section or layer of your poinsettia up like I'm doing here. See what I'm doing there? You can use a rounded edge, or you could just use your fingers like I'm doing. And then go to the next one, and the next one. And don't worry that they're kind of all wonky right now. You can fix it once you're ready to attach it to your card. There is your poinsettia, and just fix it accordingly. Now let me show you. What I did is that once I finished my card, I went ahead and put some hot glue in the center right here, and I just pressed it down where I wanted it. So here I took two of my pieces and I played around to see where I wanted them, and then when I had them exactly where I wanted it, once my poinsettia was attached, I just put some hot glue underneath and attached it to the metal. This is Wondrous White right here. And that just helped create that beautiful look. Now you may be wondering about this beautiful piece in the center. This is a new Stampin' Up product that will be available on August 1st, and I hot glued that on, and it added a beautiful texture. This embossing folder here is also a new Stampin' Up product, and so this will also be available on August 1st. This is our beautifully Baroque impressions folder, and I used the brayer embossing technique that we taught last week, and you can always watch that video, and right here below it'll show you the date of that video, so that if you're watching us on YouTube, you can go ahead and find the video. And then I used the stamp set from Stampin' Up for the message, and as you can see, I've created a perfect card, and this poinsettia is just gorgeous, 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 and there's so much you can do with it beyond a card. And here at Add a Little Dazzle, we're going to teach you how to do that. Don't you just love this card? Isn't it just beautiful? Well, if you love over-the-top projects such as this one, then I invite you to become a member of the Add a Little Dazzle Virtual Club. It is our membership site where we share exclusive projects every month in the comfort of your home. And in this coming month, we are going to kick off the holiday season, and we're going to teach you how to make some over-the-top Christmas cards that will have people oohing and ahhing and wondering how you did that. And on this website, all our projects use Stampin' Up product, and so you can use them for your classes and for your workshops. So if you want to be a part of that and you want to learn how to take Stampin' Up to the next level, then make sure that you join today. And you can join at www.addalittledazzleonline.com. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at monica@addalittledazzle.com. Thanks and have a dazzling day.